Good evening. Hello. I don't know if anyone is there, but maybe you are, maybe you're not. I said I would be here at 9 o'clock, so here I am. Isnekia is here. Well, Isnekia is a loyal follower and a regular winner of our quiz. Somebody who often seems to know the answers to everything. A good evening to Marianne, Joe, Leon, Mary, Melissa, Cassie, Dance Up, Paulie, Heidi, Mother Duck, Annette, Janice, and all the rest of you. Good evening and welcome. So, today has been a relatively quiet day compared to most days news-wise, but there are a few things to talk about. So, where do I begin? I think we can begin with a book recommendation. So today, I shall recommend to you The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. Now, Richard Osman is a very entertaining man who you might have seen on the telly box. He is quite ever always enjoying, and he's written this elegant and witty book, as it's described. It is something that's funny and clever, according to Adam Kay. It's the most enjoyable book of the year, Daily Express. You can't really rely on the Daily Express for anything, but there we go. A properly funny murder mystery steeped in Agatha Christie, says Araminta Hall. Delight after delight from first page to last, says Red. Belinda Bauer goes further and says, I don't know who Belinda is, but she says, I laughed my arse off. Now, it's about a brutal killing taking place in the middle of this community, and it's four unlikely friends and a shocking murder. It's a jolly good, easy read, and I would say I recommend the whole series to you, The Thursday Murder Club. So it's published by Penguin. You can buy it in any bookstore, probably in any airport, in any place you can go. So try the whole series of The Thursday Murder Club, because tonight is Thursday, so that's why I'm recommending it on a Thursday. I wouldn't recommend it on a Tuesday. I might not recommend it on a Wednesday. Am I starting to sound like Craig David? Quite possibly. I once was with somebody at Blake's Hotel in South Kensington, and someone threw a lump of nutmeg, and it hit Craig David on the head, and he got quite upset. And they said, "Well, do you want me to do it again to you on a Wednesday?" And he got rather upset. Well, there we go. Just a silly story, but there we are. Anyway, so I recommend Richard Osman's The Thursday Murder Club. Neil Warden would like to know, what's Katie Price done now? Well, I believe Katie Price was due at the Rolls building today for yet another hearing in regard to her bankruptcy. And our follower, who I shall not name, said that this would occur, and she updates me regularly. It was thrown into chaos by illegal recording claims. I haven't seen this, and I'm just reading it now. Here we go. So this is new news to me. Katie Price has claimed that it's been unfair that the member of the public who identified her as Sarah insisted she had not recorded or made screenshots, meaning the Skanky Watcher. Well, the person who writes to me calls her the Skank, so I don't know if this is the same person, but it could quite possibly be so. Anyway, it seems that Katie Price is playing yet another game and is trying to divert from her little court case by blaming this person. She's fed up with the legal letters There we are. So she's actually, this woman is ridiculous. This is a woman who is bankrupt, yet she is able to go on luxury holidays all over the world, flies around, takes, all these pictures of herself, flaunts her supposed luxury lifestyle, yet is not able to pay back the money she owes to the people she owes it to. The mucky mansion, shame on her. Tina doesn't like my chair. Well, I suppose at least my chair isn't Katie Price's chair in the mucky mansion. There we are. Lucky Fibonacci says she kills all her animals or they die. It does seem that rather a lot of animals do die at her premises. The Mucky Mansion was formerly owned, weirdly, by Francis Maude. I don't know if any of you remember him, but he was a Conservative minister. Quite strange, really. Hey? Anyway, it seems that the Pricey who turned up at court and complained about her mental health. They put all my private stuff on there on gossip website. She's petrified. Well, I do believe that the person who has done all of this is one of the people that writes to me, but I'm regularly updated about somebody who this person refers to as the Skank, and that is their nickname for her. Anyway, I think that Katie Price is a bit like the boy that cried wolf. She does protest too much. And I think it's about time that Katie Price was handed a bit of her own medicine. She is a piece of rubbish. And as Dance Up says, Katie can go on the Bibby Stockholm. Yes, I think we've got a fair few people on that old boat. We've got Meghan Markle, we've got Katie Price, we've got Sir Keir Starmer, we've got Rishi Sunak, we have that utter moron Theresa May. She can go on it as well. Getting a bit bored of her book tour, utterly ridiculous. GB Patriot would rather she be in jail before Bibby Stockholm. Neil Warden would like Jeffrey Epstein on the Bibby Stockholm. Well, do you really want a corpse? Well, I would think Jeffrey Epstein, given he was probably Jewish, would not be able to go on the Bibby Stockholm anything other than his ashes, given he would have probably been cremated, and I don't think he's available to go on the Bibby Stockholm. So I think, Neil, you're getting a bit ahead of yourself. You'd like Biden on the boat. Well, which Biden, Lena, would you like? I will come to the matter of Biden's son in due course. Phase 28 asks, why won't Ghislaine Maxwell talk? Well, Ghislaine is a shocking person, and she is ahead of herself in her craziness. Apple Pie would like to send me some wine. What do I like? Well, I love Chablis and I love Chianti. So that's very kind of you. And all gifts are welcome via the Magnet. And I've been in the Magnet this very afternoon. A wonderful hostelry here in Broadstairs, the Magnet, Albion Street, Broadstairs. A lovely place. I urge you all please to visit it. And there's always something wonderful going on there, music and mayhem. And we have the wonderful June, who sadly we could not do a program with today because June was otherwise engaged. June is a very busy lady. Any specific bottle, asks Apple Pie. Well, no, a Chianti or a Chablis would be very nice, or a bottle of gin, whatever you prefer. That is most generous. Simon Coates say we're going to need a bigger boat. I think you are quite correct, Simon. This boat is getting bigger and bigger. We have to put on board all these lunatics. You need an aircraft carrier for all these people. We need Boris Johnson on board, Paulie, and we need Carrie Johnson. She needs to go. I'd also like to throw in the likes of Lizzie Cundy. She definitely needs to go on board because she's highly irritating. Neil Warden wants Kay Burley. I think Kay Burley is improving with the years. She's a fine vintage. There we go. I don't think I used to think Kay Burley was a nasty bully, and she made the skank Katie Price's ex-husband Peter Andre cry. I thought that was a bit malicious, but Kay Burley has improved over the years, but she is a little bit self-centered. You would like Piers Morgan? No, I would not. I think Mr. Morgan actually is somebody who stirs the pot in a way that is necessary, and he's a bit like Jeremy Clarkson. They're both irritating, but they're both quite amusing. You'd like Vanessa False. She'll need 2 seats. I can assure you, Vanessa Phelps is one of the most tedious, boring people I've ever met. Yuck. You'd like Katie Hopkins. Yes, she can go. She's a greedy, grabbing piece of rubbish who told other people off for naming their children after geographical names, but her kid was called India. How ridiculous. The woman needs to grow up. She's an absolute pest. Absolutely annoying. Her and Lord Sugar. And don't worry, we definitely need to have the hideous, appalling David Cameron appointee to the House of Lords, his assistant, Lady Brady. Karen Brady, commonly known as #Lazy Brady, the assistant to the dildo floggers. When I lived in Belgravia, I was appalled to have her as a neighbour. She was living down the street from me. What a shocking thought to have her as a neighbour. That awful piece of toe rag. All the loose women, they can definitely go on board. Elton and David, oh, definitely. David Furnitureless is an absolute person. Farage, as you call him, is actually Farage, as in garage. His name is not Farage. It's Farage, as in Farage. Sorry, it's Farage. It's not Nigel Farage. Farage. It's Farage. Because I'm sounding completely crazy. Anyway, you've always wanted to visit Belgravia. Well, there's not much going on there, I can assure you that. But you'd like Harry and Meghan. Farage, as in garage. Yes. There you go. GB Patriot. The Nolans as entertainment on the boat. I did meet the Nolan sisters once because they came to open a property development when I was a young person, and I was working for a property firm, and they were invited to open it because it was for old people. And I didn't even know who they were, and I was a bit confused as to what they were doing when they started singing, and I have to say they were not very good. I wasn't very impressed by the Nolans, to be honest. You're still a young person. Oh, well, that's very flattering of you to say, Bambi. But the biddy is at full now. Where else can we stick them all? Well, we'll just get Bibby number 2, won't we? That's much easier. Andrew and Fergie. Yes, well, they definitely belong on there. But there we go. So I will come to my first topic. We've been going 13 minutes and we haven't even covered a topic. I shall have a swig of whiskey first because I'm having whiskey tonight. Barrymore should go overboard. Well, that's very nice. The barge is too good for him. Well, I think let him stay on there and rot in hell, because it would be much more useful that he suffers, I would say. What's in my whiskey? Just a bit of water. I like a simple famous grouse with a bit of water, Evian, chilled from the fridge, and Bob's your uncle and Fanny's your aunt. There we go. So enjoy life. Enjoy whatever you like. You have it your way and I'll have it mine. Down the hatch, round the gums. Look out, Tommy. Here it comes, as they say. Anyway, so Meghan Markle, she has been busy posing with NATO's General Luigi Migletta, and this attention-seeking pest has been doing a power play, according to the brand expert, Nick Eady, whoever he may be. Meanwhile, Prince William has been doing his own thing today, and Nick Eady believes this is a ruse to have a go at him. And meanwhile, the Mail, they had their columnist publish an article about all of this. The person who wrote it, Martin Robinson, chief reporter, said, the Harry and Meghan's Invictus power play, the Sussex's decision to pose with NATO's chiefs just days before William heads for talks with the UN in New York, is the latest stage of the PR battle between the two brothers. And he was talking of how Meghan has been relaxing in her suite at the Hyatt Hotel. I asked, where are her children? And where is Doria, the old alleged drug dealer? Where is Doria allegedly went to jail, Ragland, her mother, and where are these children of hers? We don't see any sign of these children. What on earth is going on? Absolutely strange. Meanwhile, this Martin Robinson had to say that they were putting on a red carpet style display of flirting affection that I would say it is fakeness. It is all fake. This is their first public engagement since May. We're in September now. We're nearly heading into October soon. And this man, Robinson, said the global celebrity power couple acted according to body language. I'd say they looked tacky and cheap and gross. Now, the Harry and Meghan roadshow is back in the room, this man concluded. Now, do we want the Harry and Meghan roadshow, or would we just like them to go away? When they moved to Montecito, they said they wanted to seek privacy. Why do we have to keep seeing this ghastly couple? They don't belong in our orbit. We would like them to go away. They are boring. And then there was all this Sweet Caroline singing, Sweet Caroline, please, go away, as Tina De Silva says. We would rather the Privacy Tour 2023, says Jenna. Yes, she gets it completely correct. The press keep reporting on them, says Neil. Well, they keep appearing before the press, and they keep staging photo opportunities like she did at the In-N-Out Burger. This is utterly ridiculous. They are detracting from the actual veterans, says Bambi. Precisely. We don't see any evidence of these veterans at these Invictus Games. All we see is pictures of Meghan, and Harry. Has been. The Drip and his wife are utterly shameless and scandalous in their revolting behavior, and we don't need any more of it, do we? Enough is enough. Angela asks, sorry, I'm late. Do I need a late note? No, you don't, Angela. Anyway, Angela, you're always welcome. It's lovely to hear from you and see you. Pebble Dasher's apologies. I don't know what that means. Right. You ignore everything about those two, says Pip Field. Well, I'll move on to another topic because I think enough is enough about Meghan and her drip. They are a pair of toe rags and they belong in the sewer. In fact, they belong in the slurry pit, and that is the only place for them. They are an insult to the King Charles, who is doing a perfectly good job, and they are upsetting his own brother, and they're upsetting the likes of Samantha Markle, who I happen to know, who is a lovely lady. And enough is enough, and it is jolly well time that Meghan took a trip to Siberia, and she took Fergie and Prince Andrew with her. Anyway, Rory Stewart, he took a break from Twitter. The former MP and wannabe mayor of London, who didn't ever stand, which was a great shame. I think Rory Stewart would make a great mayor of London. because the current mayor of London is inflicting hell on earth upon the citizens of London with his stupid ULEZ zone. It is an utterly off the wall, utterly bonkers, utterly stupid scheme, and it should be scrapped. Most people I know are buying classic cars because they do not wish to pay for this stupid £12.50 a day charge. And quite rightly, classic car dealers I know are making a fortune because everyone's buying a car that was built before 1983. And we need to throw, as Paulie says, throw people like Sadiq Khan in the bog. They can be told to bog off. Sadiq Khan drives round in a bomb-proof, bulletproof Range Rover. But he doesn't drive, sorry, he's driven. Because he's there we go. That's another pointless job. Someone to drive Sadiq Khan around. Make him take the bloody underground. The man is a effing disgrace. And I truly dislike Sadiq Khan with a huge passion. And I think that the world needs better. And we need a man like Rory Stewart to run London. Now, Rory Stewart hasn't put himself forward to run London at this stage, but I wish he would. I wish Rory Stewart would stand to be Prime Minister. We need someone like him because Dishy Rishi is as much use as a wet dishcloth. And then Keir Starmer, the vegan boar, who literally is a drip in the order of Prince Harry, is of as much use as a chocolate teapot. We don't need him either. We don't need either of those two people. We need a Rory Stewart. And he's been doing podcasts with Alistair Campbell, which show actually his human side. And I don't like Alistair Campbell. I think Alistair Campbell was a warmonger and a terrible person and an awful thing that he went on with him with Iraq. But Rory Stewart comes through all this. I've only ever met Rory Stewart once in the street, and I went straight up to him and congratulated him and said, please carry on with your campaign. I'll come and support you. And then the campaign didn't happen, so I couldn't help him. He'd put the nation first. He's got integrity. We need him. Starmer is a dry lunch, says Neil Warden. Yes, he's a bit like a Ryvita. I would compare Sir Keir Starmer to a Ryvita. He's like a piece of, or a Weetabix. He's of that quality. Dishy Rishi, well, he's more like a soggy biscuit that's been. He's a dreadful person. Kevin Hentz says, vote Rory Stewart. I say, Kevin Hentz, let's get the campaign going. We need to get Rory Stewart into office. Anything would help. We must support Rory Stewart. Yes, the dreadful ULEZ zone is appalling, Simon Coates. I totally dislike it, and there we are. Janet Jackson would like Blair and Bush done for war crimes. Well, I don't think that's ever going to happen because they're both on the board of Halliburton. There we are. You would like June to be MP for Broadstairs. I wouldn't particularly wish June to be MP, and I don't think June would want to be MP. I love June's company, but I don't think June would make for a good MP because I don't agree with policies. So I wouldn't be voting for them. But I love June as a friend, and that's a wonderful thing. That's the great thing about my world. I have friends of political persuasions completely different to me, and I think we should all embrace and celebrate that. Now, Dishy Rishi is like a stale mini cheddar. I wouldn't go that far, no. I think Dishy Rishi is a complete bore because he doesn't drink alcohol. I don't trust people who don't drink alcohol. Teetotalers, I don't trust them. Never have, never will. I realize some people can't have alcohol and alcohol is bad for some people, but I just don't trust people who don't drink alcohol. So there we go on that front. You'd like Drakeford on the barge. Well, the Welsh minister is as much use as nothing. He is a total pain in the backside, and he's destroying tourism in that country. He's done nothing for that country. You know, ridiculous. They should be promoting the Welsh lamb. That would be much more useful than going on about any update on Nicola Sturgeon. I don't know if she's hanging out in a caravan or not, Neil. I can't possibly answer, but the sturgeon fish and the salmon fish, they're not good people for Scotland, and they're not good people for the Union, and I support the Union, so therefore I don't support them. Load of rubbish. Isnekia says you don't drink tea. Well, I do drink tea. Yes, of course I drink tea, Isnekia. I drink Yorkshire tea. That is my favourite brand. Other brands are available. Andrea loves red wine. Well, that's lovely. Hello from Breda, from Ireland. Well, hello to Breda. Oh, not me, Jane Friel. I don't know who Jane Friel is, but there we go. Right. Okay. Well, I'm not keeping up with your personal conversations on my column on the right, because some of them I see it goes very quickly. Anyway, we'll move on to the next topic, which is Diana's dress. So Diana's black sheep jumper fetched a record in New York. And meanwhile, some of her dresses have sold for a huge sum also, after a lady bought them for £120,000 instead of paying for the mortgage on her house. Now, God only knows why anybody wants to buy these items, but you know, they're even damaged, and they were made by a knitwear brand called Warm and Wonderful, the jumper in the question. Yes, it's been sold for $1.1 million. Now, I could think of other things I would rather spend $1.1 million on, but obviously they're very collectible and they're very iconic. What will people be buying next? Fergie's footwear? I don't know. I somehow don't think that will prove quite as popular. But an absolute native nonsense. People would like to buy my jumpers one day. But there we are. Well, I am sporting a number by Bernard Weverall, which is a household, a royal household supplier. I urge you all to go on Bernard Weverall's website. You can buy wonderful items of clothing. I'm even wearing a Bernard Weverall shirt. I love everything from that shop, and that is my to-go place. There we are. You would buy my jumper, says Breda. Well, you can buy the jumper if you go to Bernard Weverall. And I don't think these things are called tank tops, no. I would call it a V-neck vest or something, but not a tank top. I don't sport tank tops myself, but there we go. Anyway, I would urge you all to go to Bernard Weverall's website. You may find some wonderful bargains there. They have sales all the time. Sadly, they don't have a shop in Knightsbridge anymore, which is where I used to buy everything. But you can buy online, which is a wonderful thing. I wish they would sponsor me, but they don't. I pay for everything I get from their shop, and I'm happy to pay for it because it's very good quality and it's fine and it lasts forever. And I've got so many that I just rotate. I've still got many in the boxes, but there we go. Anyhow, so Diana's jumper. Well, I don't think I'd want Diana's jumper, but there we are. Meanwhile, we have an Austrian foreign minister. She's flown to Russia with her ponies on a military plane, courtesy of Putin. Her name is Karin Kneissl. She was infamous for her 2018 dance at her wedding with Vladimir Putin. She's moved to St. Petersburg. Now, she was the foreign minister of neutral Austria, but then in 2018 invited Putin to her wedding. She got widespread criticism and then left the government the following year. She moved to France in September 2020, and then started working for the dodgy publication Russia Today, which is a propaganda arm of the Kremlin. She then used the dodgy site that's only used by crooks called Telegram. There's a local down here called Conspiracy Jeff, and this freak who lives in the locality here believes that the Earth is flat. He believes coronavirus doesn't exist. The kind of geezer. He's a Telegram user. And there's a mad woman I know who lives on the Isle of Man who will only communicate via Telegram. I don't have Telegram, so she no longer communicates with me. I'm very glad to have escaped that. But she has taken her horses, her ponies, to Russia with her on a military aircraft from the Russia air base at Haiman in Syria after it was diverted from carrying troops. So Putin is wasting time taking some lunatic woman who is effectively a modern-day spy and defector. She's part of the Russian oil giant Rosneft, since she's on the board of directors. She stepped down after the European Parliament passed a resolution threatening sanctions against Europeans still on the boards of major Russian companies. This disgraceful woman should be put in the stocks. She should be arrested. She is a criminal and she's a disgrace. Karin Kneissl, she is a moron of the moment. Absolutely appalling woman. I will be looking further into her because she is an utter disgrace. She deserves more than a name and shame. She deserves locking up in the gulag. And I hope that she rots in hell, but I hope someone takes those poor horses away and rescues them because they don't deserve to have such a wicked owner. She is appalling and sick in the head and utterly disgusting. So, no, we are not fans of Karin Kneissl. So anyway, we'll be on to her. I'm keeping the file open on her because I shall be going after her. The next idiot of the day has to be the dreadful pedo weirdo Hunter Biden, the freak who parades himself around and is a drug addict and a disgrace. What on earth is going on with Hunter Biden, the son of Sleepy Joe? This is another situation of utterly beyond baloney, utterly ridiculous. He's been indicted on gun charges after the plea deal with the president's son fell apart. So in the US court district in Delaware, he has been illegally obtained and possessed a Colt revolver in October 2018 after falsely declaring he wasn't a user or addicted to narcotic drugs. This is the first time the son of a sitting president has been indicted on federal criminal charges. He faces up to 10 years in prison on each of 2 counts of making false statements to a Delaware gun dealer who sold him the gun, and 5 for possessing it as someone with drug addiction. Now, what is Sleepy Joe doing? Where is Sleepy Joe? He should keep his bloody children under control. Shame on Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe is totally useless, but it's as is the case in Britain. We've got Dishy Rishi, who is totally dishwater, and we've got Keir Starmer, who is frankly as much use. He's like as a dried out Ryvita piece of cardboard Weetabix, and over there they've got Sleepy Joe, who doesn't even know where he is or what day of the week it is, and they've got the other fool, Donald Trump, who is the overinflated orange balloon, who is completely cuckoo. So what on earth is Sleepy Joe doing, allowing his son to get into all of this mess? He ought to deal with it. It's absolutely appalling. They are all a shower, says Eisnecker Yes, we need better people in politics. And I believe politicians should be paid more, then we might get better politicians. Oh, Neil says Keir Starmer is Asda's own brand, Weetabix. Well, that is very harsh, but it's probably true. I miss your notes on the cereal boxes. You're hilarious, says Harriet Bianca. Or Blanca, sorry. I have moved to a different chair. Yes, I did. I thought I would stir up the room and sit somewhere different. There we are. I'm sitting next to the other chair. There we are. We can move around. Other chairs are available. Anyway, I do think that Mr. Biden and his child should be thrown out of office. We come to the next piece of rubbish of the day. A property billionaire named Luke Comer. Mr. Comer, who is quite elderly, and he really could do with getting a better tailor, given he's a billionaire, has had his trainer's license suspended for 3 years in horse racing. He was found to have had his horses tested for anabolic steroids in October and November 2021. Mr. Comer believed his horses were contaminated pig slurry with the hay fertilized, caused them to test positive. Well, 12 of his horses tested positive. The man is utterly ridiculous, and it's yet more indication of the scandal of what is going on in horse racing and the lowbrow quality of people involved. I think the regulators of horse racing need to do better, and frankly, Mr. Comer should be chucked out of horse racing for the remainder of his life. He clearly is not a suitable or fit person to do this. He faces a legal bill of $644,000 for the Irish Horse Racing Board's cost. Well, I think that Mr. Comer, who is one of the wealthiest businessmen in Europe, being fined €5,000 for each of the breaches was not enough. They should have fined him a hell of a lot more. He is a dreadful, appalling man, and shame on him. It's pocket change to him, says Gary. Yes, it won't make any impact on his fortune. He is a very deeply unpleasant person. So, Mr. Comer. The next person we shall move along to is Danny Masterson. Sorry. Danny Masterson has been defended by Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. I don't know who Mila is, but she's some kind of actor, supposedly. Mr. Kutcher I have heard of, because he was married to a famous person. He's supposedly famous also. Anyway, this man, Masterson, has been found guilty of sexual offences, and he's going to prison for a very long time. Meanwhile, Kutcher and Kunis have been defending the convicted serial rapist by writing letters and making videos supporting him. Now, it's one thing to stand by your friends. Now, if your friends get into trouble, you should stand by them. I have stood by people who've gone through bad things, who have done bad things. I've also called out people once I decided that they were not suitable to be my friend. I've also forgiven people. And I think we should all be able to forgive people, but we don't forgive people who commit sexual offences. People who commit sexual offences of this nature, as this Masterson person, who was very involved with, the interesting church, which I shan't name because I don't think we need to give it publicity, the Church of Scientology. Well, I will name it. There we are. Anyway, they pushed the many of the victims into a Scientology-sponsored arbitration proceeding. This man has manipulated lots of people, and these two silly twits have come out there and said, oh, the good character letters needed to be written and all the rest of it. Now, this is not correct. This is appalling and it is wrong. And we don't need to be supporting people like that. So I would say don't pay any more attention to Ashton Kutcher and Miss Kneissl, whoever she is. Never heard of her in the first place, so I couldn't even tell you what film she was in. But these people are utterly reprehensible for defending the indefensible. Shame on them. Don't like people like that. Anyway, Paulie brings up Tom Cruise. Yes, well, he's very involved with this whole warped group of people. I have no problem with religion. If you wish to be religious, that is your choice. I'm not religious myself. Never have been, never will be. I believe in God, but I don't believe in the Bible. I don't believe in ceremony. I think the Bible is a book that has been manipulated by many people to suit their needs over the years. That is my personal view. I respect people who are religious. I think religion does not necessarily be a bad thing. I have friends who are Roman Catholic, friends who are Jewish, friends who are from the Church of England. I think it is perfectly acceptable to be whatever religion you wish to be. I just choose not to be religious myself. So it's entirely up to you, whatever you wish to do, but don't ram it down my throat. I don't need to know about it. I don't want to know about it myself. But I think that these Kutcher and Kneissl should behave themselves and shut their mouths and jolly well give up, because what they're doing is defending someone who is a convicted rapist, and that is disgusting. Shame on them. And I hope nobody employs them, because frankly, their crying is they are the boy that cried wolf yet again. We've talked about the boy that cried wolf already this evening. They are a pair of boy that cried wolves. So shame on them. Tina De Silva got a letter from a Jehovah's Witness the other day. I've had them knock on my door. I promptly removed them. Generally, the best thing to do is throw a bucket of water over them, and then they soon go away. That's the easiest way to get rid of a Jehovah's Witness. They are total pests. And down here in Broadstairs, there are people who sit on the cliffs every day with leaflets about God, and they're completely crackers as well. But I just walk on by. I don't even engage. I think it's best to let those crazy people, they have been indoctrinated. They are overwhelmed by these cults. It's very sad to see. And, I've had my own experience as a child. I won't go into it, but it involved a lunatic from a cult, and it was an appalling experience, and it terrified me. So, no, I keep well clear of cult-like religions. Shame on these people that suck innocent people into these things. And the terrible things that happen as a result are utterly shocking and appalling and wrong. Anyway, there we are. So, moving along, we will go on to our next topic. The closure of Le Gavroche. So Le Gavroche, which is a wonderful restaurant in Mayfair. I've only ever been there once. I don't know why I've only been there once, because I did actually enjoy it. But I did have a wonderful lunch there. It will close in January, and today the wonderful Jay Rayner, who I think is a brilliant writer, and his mother was an agony aunt, and I did go to a talk by him at the Cadogan Hall in Chelsea, where he mentioned me in the context of mini cheddars and Chablis, but that's another story. Anyway, no, Le Gavroche will be closing in January, but it's a very sad thing, because there are so many restaurants that are going that are wonderful, iconic places, And thank goodness Jeremy King, who is a food hero of mine, is reopening the old site of Le Caprice. We don't know what it's going to be called yet, but we are all looking forward to the reopening of Jeremy Corbyn's restaurants. He used to own the Wolsey, but he was ousted by the greedy, crooked people that he got into bed with, and that was unfortunate. But now he's going to revive that, and I celebrate that. But we will mourn the passing, and I say cheers to the memory of the Gavroche. But I miss the wonderful old places. The Brasserie in South Kensington has gone and is still empty. What is Richard Caring doing with this? At the funeral I attended on Monday, I spoke with a gentleman who was in hospitality, and he worked for another hospitality group, and he and I both said, this is crazy that these people keep these places empty. It's just insane, and they've wiped out the good quality restaurants. So many of them gone, and the owners are all dying out, and it's so sad because we must move and celebrate wonderful establishments. I love going to the River Cafe in Hammersmith. That is a favourite, and that's a great place. And I love Bellamy's in Mayfair. That is a restaurant I recommend to you all. And it was the only restaurant the Queen would ever go to with members of the public present. And Gavin Rankin and his team there, lovely people, fantastic place. And the lovely bar there where you can have a fish finger sandwich is delightful. And Lauren says the Magnet. Well, the Magnet doesn't serve food, but we'd all love the Magnet as a wonderful local part of our community here in Broadstairs. And there are lovely restaurants here in Broadstairs, and we celebrate those too. But in London, no, it's a great shame to see places wiped out, and increasingly there's nothing left. And it's, the death of London as I see it. And I was talking to a friend of mine, John Stoddart, who is a photographer, and he's quit London he went first to Whitstable, and now he lives in Greece. And all the places we used to love going, they're gone, and the owners are dead. PJ's, the owner has died, Brian Stein, so goodness knows what's next for PJ's, but we hope it continues. But there are wonderful places like Giovanni, and I celebrate Adriano, the owner, and I was there for dinner 2 days ago, and it was utterly delightful. Absolutely wonderful place. And I love Giovanni, and I love places like Daphne's, and I just hope they survive, because we need more like that. It would be a sad thing for our world to lose more of these great restaurants. And Wilton's in St. James's, and the 45 at Fortnum and Mason. I recommend all of these places to you. So the judge would say there's nothing wrong with Nando's. Well, I have been to a Nando's once, but it wasn't for me. But that doesn't mean that other people don't enjoy it. I like simple places myself. I don't mind going to Pizza Express, but there we are. But Neil Warden likes Ainsley Harriott. Well, nothing wrong with Ainsley. He's a perfectly nice, decent gentleman, but he's certainly not in the league of Keith Lloyd. And it depends on other people's tastes. Kevin says my taste is impeccable. Well, there we go. Angela couldn't afford to eat in London, being a poor Yorkshire lass. Well, I actually say, Angela, you're completely wrong. Try going to Bellamy's. They have a lovely set menu. It's very affordable. And the wine is, 20, 25 quid a bottle, or 27 pounds a bottle, house wine. Quite reasonable for a restaurant. So go there. I urge you to go there. It's the best valued restaurant in the whole of central London, I would say. Or go to Giovanni, where wine is very reasonably around about £20 a bottle. Fantastic place. So I urge all of you to try out these places. Giovanni and Bellamy's. They're the two best places I would suggest in central London. But there are many other places available, and I do love going to lots of different restaurants. Boysdale is a lovely restaurant. It depends what you wish to have in life, but I go to a whole variety of restaurants. Please send more gin. Yes, I would love you to send more gin. Thank you very much, Kevin. That is very kind. Yes, more gin is always welcome. Please send to the Magnet. How much is a pint of Guinness? They don't serve Guinness in the Magnet because the Magnet is a micro pub. It's not it doesn't sell mainstream brands. It's I don't know what you call it, but there we go. What's the most expensive restaurant in London? Asks Neil. There are many expensive restaurants, but I don't choose to go to them, so I couldn't possibly tell you. I believe there's a place next to Harvey Nichols where the man covers the steak in gold and he does all this nonsense with it. I think that's probably one of the most expensive. It's utterly ludicrous. He's completely stupid. I don't celebrate people like that. No. Harriet loves the terrace at Boysdale. Yes. Depends which Boysdale you're talking about, but the Boysdale in Belgravia has a terrace. And then there's the one in Canary Wharf. Yes. Salt Bay, says Harriet Blanket. Yes, that is the expensive place. I won't say what you said of it, but it's utterly appalling. Andrea says, I happen to have a bottle of Polish gin coming to the Magnet. Well, it hasn't arrived, but I look forward to seeing it if it does arrive. So, what are my thoughts on Scottish independence? Well, I love Scotland, but I don't think Scotland should be independent. I think the Union is a great thing. I think we should rejoin the European Union. I think we're better together than apart in all instances. Love your friend, love your neighbour. It is a better way to be than to be apart. So no, I don't like the idea of Scottish independence. Have I been to Doncaster? Yes, Doncaster is a lovely place. It has a fantastic race course. I love horse racing with a passion. I should be paying more attention, and in the coming days, I'm going to get back into my horse racing, and perhaps I'll start giving some of you the odd tip. I don't know whether you would like horse racing tips, but say A if you would, or B if you would not. So if you want horse racing tips, A. If you don't, B. Eisnekia says A. Ah, right. Well, I will maybe have to give tomorrow's tips today. That could be the way forward. Sarah says no, but the rest of you are saying yes. Oh, there we go. Well, I have been known to be a bit of a tipster. I've had the odd. I've had 120 to 1 winners before now, but I've also had lots of losers. So, you know, you could be taking a hit or a miss with me. You know, you never know. Andrea would like a quiz. Well, there's no quiz today because I don't have an assistant. My Debbie McGee is not in the room. Debbie McGee is not here, so haven't got him or anyone else. So sadly today that won't be happening. But in a moment I shall be going off to visit the local sailing club just to have a tipple, a nightcap. So there we go. I will talk to Jono, who has also been a wonderful assistant. But there we are. The sailing club, yes, it was frequented by Sir Edward Heath, a very evil, horrible man who was a resident of this town, and, you know, associate of Jimmy Savile and all sorts of very wicked people. But we'll come on to him another day. Lucky Fibonacci says he was a bit dodgy. Yes, well, that's a bit of an understatement, lucky. But there we are. So, yes, I shall soon be leaving you. So if you have any further questions, please bring them in now. A quick question. If you wish to ask a question, I'm happy to answer. But there we go. So I don't think we have any questions. Can I do an outfit of the day? I don't know whose outfit of the day. I don't know. There we are. Right. Well, it sounds like we were getting into all sorts of strange things. So I shall say happiness galore to you all. Thank you very much for your lovely company, and good night and good gardening, and take care. Pip, pip, and cheers to you all.